Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? So just wanted to reflect on Charlo'S performance versus Jose Benavidez and what we can expect next from Charlo. What we're looking forward to for Charlo. Is he gonna move up to 168? Is he gonna go back down to 160 in campaign? We know that this Benavidez fight was held at a catch weight, which was supposed to be 163. He ended up not being able to make weight. Came into the weigh-in, I think he was like 167 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. We don't know what either guy weighed on fight night. So I'm just kind of curious about which direction he's going to go. I did listen to his post-fight interview, and he was open to the idea of going back down to 160 and fighting the likes of the Carlos Adames. There's other guys at 160 that he could fight. I believe Janabek is a guy that he's open to fighting at 160. And then, of course, at 168, he mentioned that the division is hot. A lot of talent in that division that he's open and eager to compete against. We got David Benavidez, who just put on a hell of a performance versus Andre, stopped him in brutal fashion. You got Andre, the loser in that fight, which I think would be a fight. That's still a fight that I want to see, even if Andre took that L. That's a fight that's been in the making for years now. Both guys they've talked on live, talked about wanting to fight each other, going ahead and burying the hatchet, man, and getting in the ring and doing it for the fans. So I'm open to that. I'm interested in that fight. Of course, Canelo, you got David Morrell, Caleb Plant. That's a fight that, they had the altercation outside the ring during the Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fight week. So, man, it's a lot of opportunities for Jermall Charlo. And like he said, the sky's the limit. So many different opportunities, so many different directions that he can go. And I'm gonna be sitting back and just paying attention and just, as a fan, watching and see what he decides to do. But as far as Jermall Charlo, what he showed in the ring versus Jose, and to me, what that looks like for him going forward. Again, y'all saw my immediate and initial reaction on that fight. I thought for him being out the ring for nearly 3 years, it wasn't a bad performance at all. He won every round. His combination punches were crisp. The jab was sharp as fuck, as usual. He showed a chin, even though Jose is a smaller guy coming up. He took shots. Took a few too many clean shots for my liking, but that's to be expected when you're out of the ring for nearly 3 years. Your timing is expected to be off. Defense and sharpness is expected to be, off and not as sharp. The defense, I wasn't really, like I said, that's to be expected. So I wasn't impressed by the defense. Again, that's to be expected. I was impressed by how sharp the jab was and the timing was on that jab with being out the ring so long. I did want to see the power show up a little bit more because he hit Jose Benavidez with nice shots all night, and he hurt him a couple of times. Even though the fight was just a 10-rounder, I still would have liked to see Jermall Charlo get him up out of there because, again, considering Jermall is a bigger, more skilled guy, I simply didn't believe that Jose belonged in the ring with Jermall Charlo. I think Jermall is that much more better than him, and he's bigger on top of that. So that's my biggest critique, is that he wasn't able to inflict more damage. But one could say that, hey, he wanted to actually get those rounds in, those much needed rounds with being out of the ring so long. And I've seen Jermall Charlo hurt and stop bigger guys than Jose Benavidez. So I know that naturally the power is there. I don't know if maybe he didn't sit on his punches a lot in that fight. To me, it didn't seem like he sat on his punches a lot. I don't really think he pulled any punches, but I think he was more so focused on, throwing crit. I think he was more so focused on the skill and technique, which is a good idea when you've been out the ring for so long. You know what I'm saying? Put your combinations together, which he did. Let the jab go and be active with the jab to the head and to the body, which he did. If you go back to the Derevyanchenko fight, I thought he headhunted a lot in that fight, which I see that sometimes with Jermall Charlo. In this fight, he actually did go to the body versus Benavidez. I thought he even could have went to the body a little bit more. But overall, from a skills and technique perspective, Jermall looked really good on offense. The lateral movement was okay. All of those things, I believe, will get better with more repetition and more fights, which leads me to my next point. What's next for Jermall Charlo? I think what should happen is Jermall moves up to 168. Don't play around with your health and risk it trying to make 160. Obviously, 160 is he's grown out of that division. I know you got a belt there. I don't know how he still got that belt, but you still got a belt at 160. So I know that's something that you holding on to. And this competition is, there's a couple of guys at 160. Carlos Adames is a really good fighter. I would love to see that fight. I don't think Jermall Charlo should be fighting at 160. Let me give you my reasons. If you go back to his last couple of fights, example, Montiel, look at him at the weigh-in. He didn't look healthy. He didn't look healthy to me at 160. Nearly 3 years ago. What makes you think he's going to be healthy trying to make that weight right now? They just had a catch weight for 163. He couldn't even make that. Now, one could say that, hey, he started camp too late. He didn't train properly. All of those things is even more reason why he don't need to be at that weight. You dig what I'm saying? I love his attitude. What I heard at the post-fight interview. You can tell that he's still dealing with a lot of the things that kept him out of the ring over the course of these last 3 years. So, of course, continue to work on those things, work on yourself, as an individual, get your mental right because that's important. You can't, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. When you got all that shit bogging you down mentally, you're not going to be your best self. And I think along with the ring rust and being out the ring for so long, those mental cobwebs was still fucking with him. That's why he wasn't able to explode like I expected him to against Jose Benavidez, right? So going forward, I think he should be at 168. I think 2024, no big fights. 2024, I know he's 33, but he's had some time off. You don't get that time back. You don't get those years back. But you can also look at it from a positive standpoint. He's had time to rest. Any injuries that he's had should be healed by now. His body should have, been able to rehabilitate any physical traumas, right? So 2024, no big fights. Fight as often as possible. He said that he'd like to come back and fight 3 to 4 times a year. This is your opportunity, 2024. I say minimum 3 fights. All lesser competition. Now, you can throw some names in there. Guys that are over the hill. Triple G. Older guy, still got a name. A guy that I've always wanted to see Jermall Charlo mix it up with. A guy that, still has power, so he's dangerous enough for you to not go in there and play with him. But he's old and over the hill enough for him to not be as dangerous of an opponent for him to take at this current state that Jermall Charlo is in right now. I think he, if you can get an older guy with a name like that, also get you some, guys that ain't even sniffing the top 10 in any sanctioning body ranking at 168. I think he should fight 2 or 3, at least minimum 3 of those guys in 2024, 2025. Now that you got a head of steam, you got that confidence back. You stopped a couple of guys. You put on some great performances. You got the people to believe again. You believe, which is more important than anything. And you got the ball rolling. 2025, that's when if Canelo is still around at 160, I don't really see Canelo campaigning at 175. He already been up there, tried his hand with the best guys, didn't work. You can still get you a Canelo fight 2025. David Benavidez, maybe he's at 175 in 2025. Hey, you will get to that fight when you get to it. Caleb Plant, I see him still being around 2025 at 168. You dig what I'm saying? That's when you start aiming for those big fights. You'll still have the David Morrells of the world. You know what I'm saying? I just think Jermall Charlo need to take this comeback slow. Don't rush nothing. He shouldn't be looking at any big fights. Because if you look at what he produced in the ring this past weekend, you see the skill is there. You see the natural talent is there. The ability is there. All he's missing is just that activity, that repetition, the confidence, the explosiveness. That's what make Jermall Charlo who he is. You dig what I'm saying? So y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. What are y'all looking for from Jermall Charlo going forward? What are you expecting? Who do you want to see him in the ring with next? Do you agree with me in regard to him taking this comeback slow, not really pressing the gas on trying to fight anybody that's super dangerous? Or do you want to see him just go straight to the smoke at 168? Based off of the performance you've seen. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Contender Regime Boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.